Hi there, and welcome to the TriJake Truth. My name is Jake, ultra runner and personal trainer at TriJake Fitness right here in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And I'm really excited about today's show because we're going to talk about some things that are particularly passions of mine. One is going to be nutrition and nutritional supplements. Another one is going to be running form, and maybe find the right shoe that's right for you. But first, before we get into anything, we're going to get to talking a little bit about some training misconceptions or maybe some myths that a lot of people that come into the fitness arena as newbies make. You see, the problem is a lot of people, when they come into the gym, is they see the photos and the before and the afters and all these things that they do, and they see that they got the beach body ripped abs and all of these different like biceps and big triceps, and they say, this is what I'm going to do. And so what they do is they'll go over and they will they'll hop on a bench press, say, right? And they get on the bench press and they'll put about 120 pounds on there. And they're pumping away at it, and things are going well because they got adrenaline working on their side, and plus their muscles haven't been used for a little while, so they're not exactly fresh is the wrong word, but it's the only one that can come to mind right now. And so they can complete these exercises. And they do an excellent job at this. They do an excellent job at this, and they do it 3 or 4 times, and then they go over and maybe they hop on the squat rack and they do a couple of squats, and they're feeling really good about themselves, and they don't realize all the while the poor form that's happening, the risk that they're putting their bodies into, and they unfortunately wind up hurt. Maybe not at the immediate moment, but perhaps the next day they're so sore they can't walk, they can't lift things, and they can't function. And this is a very sad place for somebody to be, because 24 hours ago they were so excited and they had this passion and this drive to really go into the gym and do something great, and now they're hurt. And that's the first misconception I think I really want to talk about, is this idea of prepping yourself for the exercises, you know. So you got to think about it like this. You got to think like, what got you here won't get you there, but you all have to start at the same place. You have to start in the beginning. And the fact of the matter is, people can't come in and do the exercises required to do or get the results given at the end of the day by not preparing. So you need a personal trainer or a fitness professional or somebody that knows what they're talking about, that can teach you how to properly fire your glutes, that can teach you how to properly hold your stomach in, tuck your chin in when you're supposed to, stick your chest out when you're supposed to prevent injuries. This is probably the #1 reason why beginners need a trainer. Okay? So you take this same person, right? And instead, they don't come in here and they don't rack up the weights and they don't lift all this heavy stuff, and they don't think to themselves, well, when I was in high school and in the best shape of my life, what I would do is I would bench press, I would squat, and I would do clean and jerks, so I'm going to do that again. All the while, for the last 10 years, they've been working maybe a desk job. Or it's not just the desk jockeys that are affected by this. Perhaps this person works at UPS and they're very strong. However, they've been doing the same movement over and over again, moving one box from one side of the storeroom to the other side of the storeroom. Maybe they only work left to right, and they're imbalanced in some sort of way. So you bring in a guy like me, or you bring in a fitness professional that you trust, and you have that person sort of educate your muscles and educate your body the proper way to move. See, this is a great way to prevent injury, and this is a great way for you to connect with fitness on a level that is going to keep you coming back. Because what ends up happening is, these people that come in and they load the weight racks up and they wind up, you know, they're good for one day, maybe they last a week, but eventually the pain becomes so great and the soreness becomes so great that they gradually lose interest. And then they become discouraged. And then sadly, we never see them again, you know, and they just kind of drift off into the patterns that were. You know, because it's no mystery. Like, in order to get those, you know, those raging six-pack abs, or, you know, a nice pec or a nice bicep or a nice booty, you know, you have to do certain things, but not everybody can just walk into the gym and do them. It takes practice, it takes discipline, and it takes knowledge. And this is where, like, myself and others like me come in handy. See, it's much more than just rah, rah, go team. At least at TriJake it is. It's really what we can do to keep you safe towards your fitness goals. So all that being said, something that I am very passionate about is the element of goal orientation. And it's no secret, I'm an ultra runner. You know, I compete in triathletes and everything like that, and people say like, well, what's a day in a life like for me training? And you know, first things first, my clients come first, and I do put them ahead of my own training, and there are some days, sadly, where I don't get to do what it is that I feel like I need to be doing to prep myself for the next competition. And so my usual response to them is, well, you know, I try to get in a run, and I try to get in, you know, maybe a cycle bike, and if weather calls for it, I usually only do outdoor swimming. I don't get into the pool very often. And what is the point of me telling you this? The point of me telling you this is I'm an athlete, and I do this activity daily, and I'm very good at practicing what I do, and I practice it on a daily basis, as I said before. And so for me to go for a run is maybe different than somebody else is to go for a run. So before we were talking about weightlifting. Now I want to talk a little bit about running, and we're going to get into the running form, and we're going to get into proper running methods a little bit later into this show. But just briefly, I'm really big on taking it easy on yourself, especially in the beginning. Okay, because you have to understand something. You have to understand that if you haven't been doing a particular activity for a long amount of time, you're not used to it. You're not used to it, and you can wind up hurting yourself, just like with the weightlifting. It's the same thing with the running. And some people will go real gung-ho, and they get a number in their head. A lot of times I hear 5 miles. Well, I'm just going to start running 5 miles at a time. 5 miles is a very long distance, okay? Especially for somebody who hasn't run anymore, or hasn't run for a long time. But 5 miles is a long way to run. So what I really recommend that you do is maybe forget about the distance for a while. Okay? And what I really want you to focus on, this is what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on maybe time on your feet. It's so important because if you're going to go run 5 miles, let's say you're moderately fast. If you're going to go run 5 miles, you're looking at least 45 minutes of run time on your feet. That's a long time to be on your feet, especially if you're not used to being on your feet that long. So if you go out and attempt to run 5 miles and you fail, now all of a sudden you become discouraged. And this is what we don't want. And so what I recommend that you do, and what I recommend my clients do, especially those who are interested in running, and or the other type of person who doesn't even know if they like running, they just think they hate it, they've never actually tried it. But a good experiment is to, you know, set a timer, or, you know, look at your wristwatch and say, okay, I'm going to run 5 minutes out and 5 minutes back. 10-minute run. Easy. Right? And if that seems too easy, or maybe you enjoyed that a little too much, maybe you enjoyed that too much, then do it for 15 out and 15 back. The point I'm trying to drive home is you should be able to run 30 minutes nonstop before you can even consider about tracking your mileage. And once you get to the point to where you can run 30 minutes nonstop, almost effortlessly, you can raise the bar to 45 minutes. Then once you're able to do that, then you can start worrying about your mileage. And that's even if you like running. You know, I'm no fool, not everybody likes running, and some people like to cycle bike. You can do the same exercise with that. You know, you can do the same exercise if you went and jumped in a pond somewhere and said, okay, I'm just going to swim out 5 minutes and then swim back, and I'm going to see how that feels. You know, because a lot of times with the press and the media and things that go on, we get really confused and really bogged down by what's considered to be, you know, healthy, what's considered to be impressive. You know, there's a little bit of ego that goes into this whole thing as well. So on the closing thoughts, so our closing remarks are going to be this. If you are dying to get into the gym and you want that body transformation, I really encourage you to contact either myself at TriJake.com or another fitness professional, as I said, that you trust and respect and think that they can get you there, because they will keep you safe for those first few months, and they will give you the proper education so that maybe you don't need them in 3 months' time. I tell my clients all the time, my goal is for you to graduate from TriJake, being able to go, you know, to a local gym like a Boston Sports Club or a Sports Club LA, and be able to go in there and get a good quality workout without having to worry about, you know, hurting yourself. That's my goal. And likewise with the running and the swimming and in the cycling, if you want to get into triathlons or you want to get into marathon running or things like that, like take it easy on yourself and really focus on time on your feet. I think if you do these things and you really stay focused and you really stay disciplined and you keep it simple and you keep it manageable, those goals will come to you faster than you think. All right.